Do you mind if I sit back a little? Because your breath is very bad. I've always said, if you need Viagra, you're probably with the wrong girl. People love me. And you know what? I have been very successful. Everybody loves me. I like thinking big. If you're going to be thinking anything, you might as well think big. I don't like losers. We must speak our minds openly, debate our disagreements honestly, but always pursue solidarity. Money was never a big motivation for me, except as a way to keep score. The real excitement is playing the game. Part of being a winner is knowing when enough is enough. Sometimes you have to give up the fight and walk away and move on to something that's more productive. My whole life is about winning. I don't lose often. I almost never lose. Anyone who thinks my story is anywhere near over is sadly mistaken. I have an attention span that's as long as it has to be. You know the funny thing, I don't get along with rich people. I get along with the middle class and the poor people better than I get along with the rich people. It's always good to be underestimated. I am very, very proud to say that I am pro-life. If you're interested in balancing work and pleasure, stop trying to balance them. Instead, make your work more pleasurable. We have to go see Bill Gates and a lot of different people that really understand what's happening. We have to talk to them, maybe in certain areas closing that internet up in some way. Somebody will say, oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. These are foolish people. We have a lot of foolish people. No dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. As your president, I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens from the violence and oppression of a hateful foreign ideology. Everything in life is luck. I actually don't have a bad hairline. Without passion, you don't have energy. Without energy, you have nothing. One of the key problems today is that politics is such a disgrace. Good people don't go into government. I have embraced crying mothers who have lost their children because our politicians put their personal agendas before the national good. I have no patience for injustice, no tolerance for government incompetence, no sympathy for leaders who fail their citizens. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never ever let you down. We share one heart, one home, and one glorious destiny. I like the idea of amending the 1964 Civil Rights Act to include a ban of discrimination based on sexual orientation. It would be simple. It would be straightforward. Owning a great golf course gives you great power. I was a great student. I was good at everything. America will start winning again, winning like never before. As long as you're going to be thinking anyway, think big. I don't make deals for the money. I've got enough, much more than I'll ever need. I do it to do it. Everything I do in life is framed through the view of a businessman. That's my instinct. If I go into a pharmacy to buy shaving cream, then I'm going to look for the best deal on shaving cream. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Sometimes by losing a battle, you find a new way to win the war. What separates the winners from the losers is how a person reacts to each new twist of fate. You have to think anyway, so why not think big? Sometimes your best investments are the ones you don't make. I wouldn't mind a little bow. In Japan, they bow. I love it. Only thing I love about Japan. When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. The Bible tells us how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. I own buildings. I'm a builder. I know how to build. Nobody can build like I can build. Nobody. And the builders in New York will tell you that. I build the best product, and my name helps a lot. The point is that you can't be too greedy. I try to learn from the past, but I plan for the future by focusing exclusively on the present. That's where the fun is. That's one of the nice things. I mean, part of the beauty of me is that I'm very rich. So if I need $600 million, I can put $600 million myself. That's a huge advantage. I must tell you, that's a huge advantage over the other candidates. It is time to show the whole world that America is back, bigger and better and stronger than ever before. What my father gave me more than anything else is great tutoring and a great brain, frankly. You know, my father's brother was a top person at MIT, went to MIT, graduated from MIT, was a teacher at MIT, a professor at MIT, a great engineer. I mean, you know, I have very good genes. The American people will come first once again. My plan will begin with safety at home, which means safe neighborhoods, secure borders, and protection from terrorism. There can be no prosperity without law and order. When somebody challenges you, fight back. Be brutal, be tough. I've always won, and I'm going to continue to win. And that's the way it is. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you and God bless America. I have a great relationship with the Mexican people. I'll drink water, sometimes tomato juice, which I like, sometimes orange juice, which I like. I'll drink different things, but the Coke or Pepsi boosts you up a little. If you're going to be thinking, you may as well think big. The most basic duty of government is to defend the lives of its own citizens. Any government that fails to do so is a government unworthy to lead. In the end, you're measured not by how much you undertake, but by what you finally accomplish. I judge people based on their capability, honesty, and merit. I win at golf. I'm a club champion many times at different clubs. I win at golf. I can sink the 3-footer on the 18th hole when others can't. It's tangible, it's solid, it's beautiful, it's artistic, from my standpoint, and I just love real estate. Sometimes you need conflict in order to come up with a solution. Through weakness, oftentimes you can't make the right sort of settlement. So I'm aggressive, but I also get things done, and in the end, everybody likes me. It is time to remember that old wisdom our soldiers will never forget, that whether we are black or brown or white, we all bleed the same red blood of patriots. We all enjoy the same glorious freedoms, and we all salute the same great American flag. Experience taught me a few things. One is to listen to your gut, no matter how good something sounds on paper. The second is that you're generally better off sticking with what you know. And the third is that sometimes your best investments are the ones you don't make. Jimmy Carter used to walk off the airplane carrying his own luggage. Do you remember that? I don't want my president carrying. I want the freaking Marines to be carrying his luggage, and they want to carry his luggage. And whether a child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty Creator. We will follow 2 simple rules: buy American and hire American. Every time you walk down the street, people are screaming, "You're fired!" I apologize when I'm wrong. Our politicians are stupid, and the Mexican government is much smarter, much sharper, much more cunning. And they send the bad ones over because they don't want to pay for them. They don't want to take care of them. Why should they when the stupid leaders of the United States will do it for them? A lot of people don't like to win. They actually don't know how to win, and they don't like to win because down deep inside, they don't want to win. In 2009, pre-Hillary, ISIS was not even on the map. Libya was stable. Egypt was peaceful. Iraq was seeing a really big reduction in violence. Iran was being choked by sanctions. Syria was somewhat under control. Somebody made the statement that Hasbuilt owns the greatest collection of golf courses ever in the history of golf. And I believe that is 100% true. Everybody has their detractors. Some people say arrogance or whatever they may say. I only have one thing in mind, and that's doing a great job for the country. If people can just pour into the country illegally, you don't have a country. At the Super Bowl, when Beyoncé was thrusting her hips forward in a very suggestive manner. If someone else had done that, it would have been a national scandal. I thought it was ridiculous. I've got the hottest brand in the world. I had great relationship with the Hispanic. We had a lot of Hispanics in the school, actually, from different countries, Venezuela, from Brazil, and they all played soccer. And I was on the soccer team, and I developed great relationships with them. We stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space, to free the Earth from the miseries of disease, and to harness the energies, industries, and technologies of tomorrow. A new national pride will stir our souls, lift our sights, and heal our divisions. I'm the Ernest Hemingway of 140 characters. We need a president with tremendous intelligence, smarts, cunning, strength, and stamina. I have made the tough decisions, always with an eye toward the bottom line. Perhaps it's time America was run like a business. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable. We need strength, we need energy, we need quickness, and we need brain in this country to turn it around. We will seek friendship and goodwill with the nations of the world, but we do so with the understanding that it is the right of all nations to put their own interests first. Every day, I wake up determined to deliver a better life for the people all across this nation that have been neglected, ignored, and abandoned. I have visited the laid-off factory workers and the communities crushed by our horrible and unfair trade deals. These are the forgotten men and women of our country. I support health care for people. I want people well taken care of, but I also want health care that we can afford as a country. I have people and friends closing down their businesses because of Obamacare. I've always felt comfortable in front of a camera. Either you're good at it or you're not good at it. The first thing the secretary types is the boss. I'm a bit of a P.T. Barnum. I make stars out of everyone. We will no longer surrender this country or its people to the false song of globalism. Obama does not like the issue of where he was born. Do not let anyone tell you it cannot be done. No challenge can match the heart and fight and spirit of America. We will not fail. Our country will thrive and prosper again. Politicians can't manage. All they can do is talk. I've been making deals all my life. If I were a liberal Democrat, people would say I'm the super genius of all time. The super genius of all time. If you're a conservative Republican, you've got to fight for your life. It's really an amazing thing. I always want to think of myself as an underdog. We will be a country of generosity and warmth, but we will also be a country of law and order. I think I was born with the drive for success because I have a certain gene. I love Neil Young, and he loves me. We have a great relationship. There's always opposition when you do something big. I do many things that are controversial. When people see it, they love it. I'm a believer in the polls, by the way. Rarely do you see a poll that's very far off. Private jets cost a lot of money. We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement, and most importantly, we are protected by God. What truly matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. We can't let people down when they can't get any medical care, when they're sick and don't have money to go to a doctor. You help them. If you love what you do, if you love going to the office, if you really like it, not just say it, but really like it, it keeps you young and energized. I really love what I do. I feel a lot of people listen to what I have to say. The Pope, I hope, can only be scared by God. What I hate about Halle Berry is there's always drama around her. It's always fighting, automobile accidents, fist fights, boyfriends fighting ex-husbands for the child. Well, I am a Republican and I would run as a Republican. And I have a lot of confidence in the Republican Party. I don't have a lot of confidence in the president. I think what's happening to this country is unbelievably bad. We're no longer a respected country. I wasn't satisfied just to earn a good living. I was looking to make a statement. I'm competitive, and I love to create challenges for myself. Maybe that's not always a good thing. It can make life complicated. Well, real estate is always good, as far as I'm concerned. I think Ronald Reagan was one of the great presidents, period, not just recently. I thought he had the demeanor, I thought he had the bearing, I thought he had the thought process. Every decision on trade, on taxes, on immigration, on foreign affairs will be made to benefit American workers and American families. We must protect our borders from the ravages of other countries, making our products, stealing our companies, and destroying our jobs. Protection will lead to great prosperity and strength. Hillary Clinton may be the most corrupt person ever to seek the presidency. If you get good ratings, they'll cover you even if you have nothing to say. As far as single payer, it works in Canada. It works incredibly well in Scotland. I have made really some significant deals because I play golf. I want to lower taxes for the middle class. I'm going to keep Social Security without change, except I'm going to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. Same thing with Medicare. I played golf with my friends, and then I started to play with the hustlers. And I learned a lot. I learned about golf. I learned about gambling. I learned about everything. President Obama has almost doubled our national debt to more than $19 trillion and growing. And yet, what do we have to show for it? Our roads and bridges are falling apart, our airports are in third world condition, and 43 million Americans are on food stamps. I'm the #1 developer in New York, I'm the biggest in Atlantic City, and maybe we'll keep it that way. We will build new roads and highways and bridges and airports and tunnels and railways all across our wonderful nation. The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving. We do not seek to impose our way of life on anyone, but rather to let it shine as an example for everyone to follow. My father was very energetic. My mother was very energetic. He lived to a very old age, and so did my mother. I believe that I just have it from my father, from my parents. They had wonderful energy. Hillary Clinton has perfected the politics of personal profit and theft. She ran the State Department like her own personal hedge fund, doing favors for oppressive regimes and many others in exchange for cash. People assume I'm a boiler ready to explode, but I actually have very low blood pressure, which is shocking to people. Decades of record immigration have produced lower wages and higher unemployment for our citizens, especially for African American and Latino workers. We are going to have an immigration system that works, but one that works for the American people. Ever since The Apprentice, my life has gotten so much busier. My father was a successful real estate developer, and he was a very tough man, but a good man. My father would always praise me. He always thought I was the smartest person. I could never have imagined that firing 67 people on national television would actually make me more popular, especially with the younger generation. You have to blast to build in Manhattan, and the buildings went up in Manhattan because of the power of that bedrock. Once you dig that foundation, and they dig with dynamite, and once you dynamite out and you secure that foundation, that building isn't going anywhere. I give to everybody. When they call, I give. And do you know what? When I need something from them 2 years later, 3 years later, I call them. They are there for me. People are so shocked when they find out I am Protestant, I am Presbyterian, and I go to church, and I love God, and I love my church. I will tell you this, I have fun, a lot of fun with The Apprentice. When I did the books, and now we have a book out, and all the time books are prestigious, but there's sort of nothing like having the big hot show on television. Getting things done in this country, if you want to build something, if you want to start a company, it's getting to be virtually impossible with all of the bureaucracy and all of the approvals. So many people are on television that don't know me, and they're like experts on me. My opponent asks her supporters to recite a 3-word loyalty pledge. It reads, "I'm with her." I choose to recite a different pledge. My pledge reads, "I'm with you, the American people." I have women working in high positions. I was one of the first people to put women in charge of big construction jobs. And, I've had a great relationship with women. I have had lobbyists, and I have had some very good ones. They could do anything. I would say that I bought the land under which Trump Tower sits while playing golf. We need a great president. I've created tens of thousands of jobs over the years. I get a lot of credit for comb-overs, but it's not really a comb-over. It's sort of a little bit forward and back. I've combed it the same way for years. Same thing, every time. I think the World Trade Center should be rebuilt as the World Trade Center, only stronger and 1 story taller. I hate what they're doing with the World Trade Center site. I mean, there's no arguing, there is no anything, there is no beating around the bush. You're fired is a very strong term. A little more moderation would be good. Of course, my life hasn't exactly been one of moderation. Saudi Arabia makes $1 billion a day, okay? They make $1 billion a day. You're fired was not a part of the deal. And when I went into the first boardroom, the very first one, I'm looking at these people, and I had to fire somebody, but we never thought in terms of the expression "you're fired." Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are the just and reasonable demands of a righteous public. I love Wisconsin. It's a great place. People are tired of seeing politicians as all talk and no action. I grew up in New York City, a town with different races, religions, and peoples. It breeds tolerance. The interesting thing is that everyone in golf is just nice. You learn a lot about people playing golf, their integrity, how they play under pressure. The problems we face now, poverty and violence at home, war and destruction abroad, will last only as long as we continue relying on the same politicians who created them in the first place. Mexico's making a fortune off the United States. I have a Bible near my bed. I describe Jeb Bush as a low-energy individual, and unfortunately for him, that stuck. And it's true, he's a low-energy person. That doesn't make him a bad person. Obama and his attack dogs have nothing but hate and anger in their hearts and spew it whenever possible. To me, I love real estate because you can feel it. So to all Americans, in every city near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain and from ocean to ocean, hear these words. You will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny, and your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Sure, I'd like to see apples built in the United States, not built in China. I'd like to see them have factories in the United States, at least partially. They make nothing in the United States, virtually. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. The 1990s sure aren't like the 1980s. If I am elected president, I will end the special interest monopoly in Washington, D.C. Speeches are much easier if you read them. I just find when I do that, it's harder to fire up the crowd. Together, we will lead our party back to the White House, and we will lead our country back to safety, prosperity, and peace. We will get our people off of welfare and back to work, rebuilding our country with American hands and American labor. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this moment on, it's going to be America first. I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. Windmills are going to be the death of Scotland and even England if they don't do something about them. They are ruining the countryside. The golf facet of my life doesn't go with the rest of my life, which is a rough and tumble life. I work in real estate development, which is the toughest business, and I do it in the toughest city. I deal with ruthless people. You learn their honesty, you learn their competitiveness, you learn a lot about a person. It's not that they have to sink the putt and there's a great deal of talent involved, but you do learn about how competitive a person is on the golf course, and frankly, how honest. Many agree that the worst thing that could ever happen is if Russia and China get closer. I had tremendous success in show business, star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Apprentice was one of the most successful shows. I actually think that the Republicans are the party of jobs and the Democrats are the party of mobs. I love Wingfoot. I'm a member of Wingfoot. It's a great course. We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones, and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth. So Bush certainly wasn't the greatest, and Obama has not done the job. And he's created a lot of disincentive. He's created a lot of great dissatisfaction. Regulations and regulatory is going through the roof. It's almost impossible to get anything done in the country. I think George Will is somebody that said recently that the Republicans will not lose as a Republican, that the Republicans will not win the election. I think it was a terrible statement. It's not like I'm anti-China. I just think it's ridiculous that we allow them to do what they're doing to this country with the manipulation of the currency that you write about and understand, and all of the other things that they do. The way I run my business seems to be easier than the way I run my life. Come November, the American people will have the chance to redeclare their independence. Americans will have a chance to vote for trade, immigration, and foreign policies that put our citizens first. They will have the chance to reject today's rule by the global elite and to embrace real change that delivers a government of, by, and for the people. You've seen my statements. I do very well. I don't mind paying some taxes. The middle class is getting clobbered in this country. You know, the middle class built this country, not the hedge fund guys. But I know people in hedge funds that pay almost nothing, and it's ridiculous, okay? I deal with foreign countries. I made a lot of money dealing against China. I've made a lot of money dealing against many other countries. A certificate of live birth is not the same thing by any stretch of the imagination as a birth certificate. One of the reasons that New York became great was that it's serviced by many, many different rivers and waterways. You have the Atlantic Ocean connected virtually right to it, and it's serviced by the East River and the Hudson River and lots of tributaries. The Obama representatives like Robert Gibbs attack people viciously, but people like me will not be silent and will answer them back. I think that when you get right down to it, people do evolve on different issues. And, I'm pro-life, and I was begrudgingly the other way. I think I will be a great president, having to do with the military and also having to do with taking care of our vets. I've always been covered by a press that's mostly financial press. Our military has to be strengthened. Our vets have to be taken care of. We have to end Obamacare, and we have to make our country great again. And I will do that. "40 Wall Street is probably the most beautiful tower in New York. I have used the laws of this country just like the greatest people that you read about every day in business have used the laws of this country, the chapter laws, to do a great job for my company, for myself, for my employees, for my family, etc. When I am president, I will work to ensure that all of our kids are treated equally and protected equally. Every action I take, I will ask myself, does this make life better for young Americans in Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, Ferguson, who have as much of a right to live out their dreams as any other child America? I want to be a fair trader. I want to be a firm and fair trader. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth, and we will bring back our dreams. I was a great student at a great school, Wharton School of Finance. I rely on myself very much. I just think that you have an instinct and you go with it, especially when it comes to deal making and buying things. One thing about television, it brings out personality. People are able to watch me in action. They hear my voice and see my eyes. There's nothing I can hide. That's me. Television brings out your flaws, your weaknesses, your strengths, and your truths. The audience either likes you or it doesn't. Thanks to Hillary Clinton, Iran is now the dominant Islamic power in the Middle East and on the road to nuclear weapons. Hillary Clinton's support for violent regime change in Syria has thrown the country into one of the bloodiest civil wars anyone has ever seen, while giving ISIS a launching pad for terrorism against the West. I saw a report yesterday. There's so much oil all over the world, they don't know where to dump it. And Saudi Arabia says, oh, there's too much oil. They came back yesterday. Did you see the report? They want to reduce oil production. Do you think they're our friends? They're not our friends. Ronald Reagan became, not only a Republican, but a pretty conservative Republican. Not the most, but a pretty conservative Republican. And he's somebody that I actually knew and liked, and he liked me, and I worked with him and helped him. Together, we will determine the course of America and the world for years to come. We will face challenges, we will confront hardships, but we will get the job done. The Iranians and Persians are excellent at the art of negotiation. Somebody said I am the most popular person in Arizona because I am speaking the truth. The USGA is terrific. I've designed my course in Bedminster to the highest standards of the USGA, and it's a very special course. We've had soldiers that were so badly hurt and killed. I want their families to get something. I've been dealing with politicians all my life, and I've always gotten them to do what I need them to do. You don't get a standing ovation and get boos, by the way. They don't go hand in hand. I have the right temperament. I have the right leadership. I've built an incredible company. I went to a great school. I came out. I built an incredible company. I wrote the #1 selling business book of all time, Trump, The Art of the Deal. The debt limits have to come down. The whole world of debt has to be changed as far as this country is concerned. We have to create jobs, and we have to create them rapidly, because if we don't, things are just going to head in a direction that's going to be almost impossible to recover from. I understand the military. I know the military. If you look at what's going on with your gasoline prices. They're going to go to $5, $6, $7. And we don't have anybody in Washington that calls OPEC and says, fellas, it's time. It's over. You're not going to do it anymore. Obama has no solutions. Obama has failed the country and its great citizens. And they don't like it when somebody such as myself speaks the truth about this. It hurts too much. Owning great landmarks such as the Empire State Building or Trump Tower or the General Motors Building or the Plaza Hotel, there are certain just spectacular landmarks. It's an honor. It's really an honor. I've become very successful over the years. I think I own among the greatest properties in the world. I'm worth far too much money. I don't need anybody's money. I've met some great people that deal with me in the press. I've also met some people that were very dishonorable, frankly. I have respect for Senator McCain. I used to like him a lot. I supported him. I raised a lot of money for his campaign against President Obama. I went to the Wharton School of Finance, the toughest place to get into. I was a great student. A lot of people feel very good about Mitt Romney, and I think he's going to do a great job. I have very good executives and great children. They're very good. I shake hands very gladly politically. I don't think you could be a politician if you didn't shake hands. Well, yes, I've fired a lot of people. Generally, I like other people to fire because it's always a lousy task, but I have fired many people. First and foremost, I'm a real estate person, and that's what I love the most. China gets their oil from Libya. Why isn't China involved? They're going out spending billions of dollars a day on trying to take over the world economically. And we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on policing the world. Why isn't China involved with Libya? That we don't get oil from Libya, China does. Today, and I'm very strongly against tax increases. But I believe in fair trade, and I will tell you, I have many, many friends heading up corporations and people that do just business in China. They say it's virtually impossible. It's very, very hard to come into China. And yet, we welcome them with open arms. I have great respect for the Pope. I like the Pope. I actually like him. So we really need jobs now. We have to take jobs away from other countries because other countries are taking our jobs. There is practically not a country that does business with the United States that isn't making, let's call it a very big profit. I mean, China is going to make $300 billion on us at least this year. It's my life. It just continues to go forward from The Apprentice. If I don't get along with Democrats, I'm sort of like out of business. I want trade deals, but they have to be great for the United States and our workers. We don't make great deals anymore, but we will once I become president. I have visited the cities and towns across America and seen the devastation caused by the trade policies of Bill and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton supported Bill Clinton's disastrous NAFTA, just like she supported China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. We need intelligence in this country. We need a certain toughness in this country, or we're going to end up like a lot of the other places, and we're not going to have a country left. I always look at it that I work with my employees as opposed to them working for me. I was a Democrat for a period of time early on, and then I was also an independent, and then I became a Republican. In real life, if I were firing you, I'd tell you what a great job you did, how fantastic you are, and how you can do better someplace else. If somebody steals, that's different, but generally speaking, you want to let them down as lightly as possible. It's not a very pleasant thing. I don't like firing people. On January 21st of 2017, the day after I take the oath of office, Americans will finally wake up in a country where the laws of the United States are enforced. We are going to be considerate and compassionate to everyone, but my greatest compassion will be for our own struggling citizens. I have a great company. I employ thousands of people, and I'm very proud of the job I did. I do respect them. I have great respect for women. In fact, one of the reasons The Apprentice was such a successful show for so many years, the audience of women was fantastic. It's a great thing when you can show that you've been successful and that you've made a lot of money and that you've employed a lot of people. We have to straighten out our country. We have to make our country great again. And we need energy and enthusiasm. My big focus is China and OPEC and all of these countries that are just absolutely destroying the United States. I built a great company, some of the most iconic assets in the world, $10 billion of net worth, more than $10 billion of net worth, and frankly, I had a great time doing it. Remember, many Republicans didn't vote for Mitt Romney. He didn't inspire people. The Veterans Administration is a scandal. It's corrupt, and what's going on is a disgrace. And believe me, if I win, if I become president, that will end. The veterans will be treated properly. The early versions of Shell's Wonderful World of Golf were great. It's sort of interesting. As it progressed, it became worse and worse, but the early versions were really fantastic with Jimmy Demarais and Gene Sarazen. They were classics. Years ago, I predicted that Iran would take over Iraq. Iran and Iraq used to fight back and forth. In July of 2004, I came out strongly against the war with Iraq because it was going to destabilize the Middle East. I do have my ducks in line if I want to do it, but I'd love to see the Republicans pick somebody that was going to win and take over this country. And frankly, to use the expression, make America great again. When I see the crumbling roads and bridges, or the dilapidated airports, or the factories moving overseas to Mexico or to other countries, I know these problems can all be fixed, but not by Hillary Clinton, only by me. Obamacare is number one, and maybe least importantly, it's costing the country a fortune. Seth Meyers is highly overrated as a comedian. The pact we have with Japan is interesting, because if somebody attacks us, Japan does not have to help. If somebody attacks Japan, we have to help Japan. Hillary Clinton was the worst Secretary of State in the history of the country. The world came apart under her reign as Secretary of State. The Hillary Clinton foreign policy has cost America thousands of lives and trillions of dollars, and unleashed ISIS across the world. No Secretary of State has been more wrong, more often, and in more places than Hillary Clinton. People might not think that, but the Republicans have all of the cards, and this is the time to get rid of Obamacare. This is the time to make the great deal. You know that ISIS wants to go in and take over the Vatican? You have heard that. You know that's a dream of theirs, to go into Italy. What I speak to Mitt Romney about is jobs. What I speak to Mitt Romney about is China, because he's got a great view on China and how they're trying to destroy our country by taking our jobs and making our product and manipulating their currency so that it makes it almost impossible for our companies to compete. The Arab League tells us to go in and take out Gaddafi. We've spent billions of dollars already with respect to the Arab League. Billions of dollars because they told us to do it. Why aren't they paying for it? They don't like Gaddafi. Gaddafi's been a terrible thorn in their side.